Hello, hello. And it's all three of us this time because the whole system just went wobbly on me, right? I was trying to start the show. So it's me. It's me. It's Lewis Black Raven. It's Chris Hall. And it's Tricky Norris. Welcome you to December 5th, 2025's movie review. We're going to be talking about I don't know what we're going to call it. Chris has his own name for it, obviously. But it's the Fantastic Four First Steps. The real question...
Is somebody playing bongos in the background?
It's something going on with John's sounds thing.
Oh, okay. It sounds like somebody's like boom, 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 boom.
Hold on a second. I wonder if it's my ceiling fan.
It could be.
It could be.
But anyway, hopefully you won't get too warm in there then. But anyway, the real question is, are you two going to be able to keep me in check tonight?
I don't know. That's a hard one to do. That's a tall request.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? Let's start with Chris Reed.
All right. This is the Fantastic Four First Steps, 2025, directed by Matt Shakman. Screenplay by Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, and Ian Springer. Story by Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, Ian Springer, and Kat Wood. Based on Fantastic Four by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Lewis Bright Raven. Produced by Kevin Feige. Produced by Kevin Feige. Starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss-Bachrach, Julia Garner, Sarah Niles, Mark Gatiss, Natasha Lyonne, Paul Walter Hauser, and Ralph Ineson. Production company was Marvel Studios, of course. Distributed by Walt Disney Studio Motion Pictures. Release date was July 25th, 2025 in the United States, and running time of 1 hour and 54 minutes.
And probably could have been over 2 hours without any problem.
All right, budget of $200 million estimated. Box office of $521 million or $21.9 million as of October 2025. It's still in theaters, so that remains to be seen. What it's about. It is 1964 on a parallel Earth to our own, Earth 828, based off Jack Kirby's birthday, hence part of why the 828 is mentioned in homage to Jack in the end credits. But the Raven digresses. Oh, sorry, that was supposed to be you. You need to put in like Raven speaks. As the world celebrates the 4th anniversary of astronauts Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm becoming the new superhero team known as the Fantastic Four after they gained superhuman abilities from exposure to cosmic rays during a space mission. Since then, the team have become celebrities and fought supervillains while Reed's inventions have progressed technology, and Sue's diplomacy via the Future Foundation has led to demilitarization and peace for much of the world. When Reed and Sue reveal that they are expecting a child, the world prepares for a new arrival and questions whether the child will also have superpowers. Months later, the Silver Surfer Shellabal version comes to Earth and declares that it has been marked for destruction by Galactus, a planet-devouring cosmic being. Reed studies the disappearance of other planets and verifies this claim, and the team decides to return to space to stop Galactus from coming to Earth. They track the Silver Surfer's energy signature and, using faster-than-light, FTL, travel, arrive at a new planet just as it is destroyed by Galactus' chip. The team is captured and brought to Galactus, who reveals that he has an insatiable hunger that has driven him to consume planets for eons. Galactus senses that Reed and Sue's unborn child has an immense cosmic power and can take on his hunger, freeing himself from it. He offers to spare the Earth in exchange for the child and induces Sue to go into labor. The team refuses the offer and escapes from the ship. Using the gravity from a neutron star, which destroys the FTL system, the team delays the chasing Silver Surfer and propels himself back to Earth. Sue gives birth to a boy, Franklin, on the way back to Earth.
I want to take a quick stop or pause of that, because this is a major flaw in the story. months later, it hadn't been that long. If he induced labor, would the baby have even been formed completely? But that's just something that caught my mind. But go ahead.
Right. On the return to Earth a month later, Reed reveals that the details of their encounter during a press conference, the decision to save one child over the billions of other people on Earth, leads to public outcry, with many calling for Franklin to be sacrificed to Galactus. Johnny begins to decipher the Silver Surfer's native language using his interactions with her and some deep space transmissions. Reed unknowingly had intercepted from her planet. They also have transmissions from planets that Galactus destroyed. As Galactus draws near and protests against the Fantastic Four escalate, Sue takes Franklin to meet with protesters. She explains that they will not sacrifice their child, but they will also not give up on the rest of humanity, regaining public trust. Using a teleportation system that he has been working on, Reed devises a plan to build large teleportation bridges across the Earth so they can transport the entire planet to another solar system where Galactus cannot reach them. Through the Future Foundation, Sue organizes the world's nations to build the bridges and conserve the energy needed to use them.
And that's bunk 2, right?
Yes.
Go on.
As the bridges are being activated, the Silver Surfer returns and begins destroying them. Johnny stops her from destroying the last bridge in Times Square and reveals what he learned from the transmissions. Her name is Shalabal, and she became Galactus' herald to spare her world, Zenla. Hearing the transmissions from the planets she helped destroy, Shalabal expresses remorse but refuses to help and flees. Using Franklin as bait, the team plans to lure Galactus to the last bridge and teleport him away. Sue negotiates with Harvey Elder, aka Mole Man, to evacuate New York City citizens to Subterranea, his underground city. Galactus makes his way through the city and captures Franklin, avoiding the trap. Sue uses all of her power to push him towards the portal with a force field while Reed rescues Franklin. Johnny attempts to sacrifice himself to give Galactus a final push into the portal, but is stopped by Shalabal. She pushes Galactus into the portal herself and closes it behind them. Sue dies from her efforts, her body completely exhausted from mental and physical stress. But of course, now baby Franklin demands to show off his cosmic abilities, and he revives her through cosmic CPR. The team later goes on a new mission as the world celebrates their 5th anniversary. In a mid-credits scene set 4 years later, Sue is reading to Franklin at home and goes to get a different book. She returns to see him interacting with a man in a green cloak who is holding a metal mask.
Okay, John.
All right, and I sense I'm going to be in the minority on this one.
Just go on.
I, for one, really enjoyed this movie. I never saw the 2015 film or Roger Corman's unreleased 1994 films. I've never been outraged by those presumably bad movies. 2 early 2000s films I thought were entertaining enough for what they were, and without them, they may not have had Chris Evans considered for Captain America, so I guess there's that. But First Steps beats them both. In fact, I really do think this is one of Marvel Studios' best efforts. For one thing, pardon the pun, I like that it isn't an origin story. It gives a quick recap and then moves on. And another thing, it's nice to have a smaller cast of characters as opposed to the expansive one in all the Avengers films. It offers more opportunity to develop the 4 personalities and less on power displays to make it interesting. Galactus actually looks like Galactus instead of that cloud thing we got in Rise of the Silver Surfer. And Raven did remind me that this was not the first time I've seen Shalabal as the Surface, which he'll explain when it's his turn. But it was definitely the first time I remember officially seeing it. I will say that Michael Chiklis was the best thing about those early 2000s films. I thought he gave a great performance in a real suit as the Thing. So here, the Thing is portrayed via motion capture and CGI, and they did a nice job. Although I do like him better without the facial hair. In fact, I didn't even know he could grow facial hair.
That's the only time I've ever seen that. So I thought that was kind of weird, but
It's been in the comics.
has it? Okay.
Yeah.
What I like most about the film is how grounded it feels. Above all else, this is a story about family and the lengths one will go to protect their family. The four main actors do a great job setting the rapport that the characters have with each other. I think Joseph Quinn as Johnny and Ebon Moss-Bachrach as the Thing do a nice job, although I do think the Thing's voice should have sounded more gravelly. But the real standouts to me are Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby. They are dressed well, fantastic as Reed and Sue Richards. The scene where Reed finds out that Sue's pregnant after 2 years of playing got to me because my ex-wife were not successful at having children, and believe me, we tried. But I also loved the 60s vibe and Michael Giacchino's score with the choir singing Fantastic Four. And one more thing. Herbie is freaking adorable. I loved Herbie. So.
Well, Chris, it's your turn.
Fire
All
away.
right. It's jibber jabbering time. Or I talked briefly on the phone with Lewis about it, and I'm ad-libbing as usual. The film suffers from split personality disorder for me. There's too much family and not enough fantastic, especially the first half. Once the action picks up and they're fighting Galactus, it's pretty cool. Didn't like the Mole Man. He was acting the simp to Sue. They totally had him simping on Sue. I just assumed he was in love with Sue. And Raven explained that was not the case. They edited out some of their interaction.
Okay. Was there more you wanted to add, Chris, before we go in?
I agree with John. I think the Thing should have had that gravelly voice we're all used to hearing, and more of a Brooklyn accent or Yancey Street accent. I told you before, I think they could have cut like 15, 20 minutes out of this movie, and I think it would have been much, much better.
Okay. I don't know what 20 minutes you're going to cut, but it really doesn't matter. we can talk about that some other time.
Well, I shall be phoning Marvel in my requests.
Yep. Okay. Now, before I start, okay, Johnny, and you see how I spelled that. What are you, a 14-year-old girl? Herbie, adorable? Really?
Yes.
Yikes.
Yes.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the character or how it was used in the movie, but adorable? That's not the right word.
Well, I stand by.
You sound like a 14-year-old techie girl. Ay, caramba. Anyway, the main reason we delayed watching this movie for so long was because I was afraid that they ripped off my 1990s What If story that Marvel bought in the mid-90s, but never actually produced or released. In said story, Shia LaBeouf was in fact the Silver Surfer instead of Norrin Radd. They ultimately, in this movie, did not go in the same direction I did. My version of had Norrin Radd out of rage and grief having Shia being chosen instead of him. He builds the ultimate nullifier and an armada to go after Shia and Galactus. And so you would have had Galactus and Shia LaBeouf and a Zenlanian military invasion plot all on top of it. They went away from that version and went with the Franklin as cosmic power being idea, which, okay, makes sense to me. I don't have a problem with that. In my version, Johnny and Shia do fall for each other, similar to what they hinted at but didn't quite go in the film. I took it a little further in my version. And instead of Reed doing the teleportational thing, Shala uses the last of her cosmic power to make a portal to send Galactus back to Zenlata consumer homeworld because of what Norrin has done and turned the whole planet into warmongers. So it's like, that's not why I sacrificed it. That's you're going to be the end of you, type thing. So while the movie doesn't copy what I was doing, the scenes where Johnny's talking about her being interested in liking her, where they show Shala's transformation into the surfer, where Johnny's about to make the sacrifice and Shala stops him and does it herself, that's all very parallel to what I had written. And that's okay. Because the theme of my story was self-sacrifice. The theme of the movie, however, is family. And I think the filmmakers do a very nice job of running with that core theme, not only with the Reed and Sue storyline, although Pedro Pascal is still not who I would have cast as Reed. He did a respectable enough job, but I don't know. I think it's the mustache and the beard.
Right. Yeah.
I think if you just shaved the mustache, even, I've been more accepting of it. Vanessa Kirby was very good as Sue Storm Richards. I also liked how they did the thing about around his home street there, Yancey Street, and how that worked out with the teacher, hinting at a potential romance. It's not Alicia Masters, but okay. And of course, this isn't the same universe, so who knows what will happen if they come into our universe, in the 616 universe.
Yeah, but have you ever looked at a rock and gone, damn, that is a sexy rock?
I'm not a sculptor, but Alicia must.
Well, that's the whole point, is that she's blind, and so she loves Ben for who he is.
Right.
And not for what he looks like.
Right.
So the whole romance thing was just kind of weird.
Fair enough. Johnny was much more grounded and professional in this, and not just the hot-headed little brother that is typically presented in the comics. He's the star of the story, in my opinion. Reed is constantly flustered in the film, whether it's because he doesn't know what to do as a father, and he's frustrated about that, or I don't have the answers. I always have the answers. I don't have the answers. It just wasn't Reed, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But it's okay. It was like other things were going on that still made the film move forward. And Johnny being the one who figures out the language barrier and the linguistical points of reference to emotionally reach Shalabao was a good point. And again, that played into what I would have done if I'd been writing this movie. Reed would have never been able to do that. He wouldn't be able to do it no matter who's portraying the character because he's too detached emotionally. He can decipher everything, but he wouldn't make that emotional realization and use it to their advantage the way Johnny did.
Yeah, but when did Johnny become a linguistics expert?
It's not that you need to be an expert in it. And the thing is, he's supposed to be a scientist, not just a hot-head race car driver in this version. So,
right.
And remember, he designed the suits as well. So, let's give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Reed's humanization is a slow process throughout the film, and he makes cold-hearted, calculated decisions, like putting Franklin out as bait, and then having to risk everything to save Franklin when his plan fails. I was very disappointed that Galactus didn't slingshot him into orbit when he stretched him out after his fingers. I just wanted to see him go snap. Whee!
That's another thing that bugged me. Like, when was Reed's stretching limit like 10 feet?
I don't know, but anyway, it was interesting though. Anyway, I wasn't a fan of Pedro as the character. We got that established. Anyway, the ending where Sue does what she does and the aftermath of that was all too obvious and too predictable. And the car seat scene at the end of the movie was just too damn dumb and 3 men and a baby and was not needed. I didn't understand the point of that comedy at the end of the thing. Did anybody else? I mean, John probably liked it, but what about you, Chris?
I like that because the point of it was here's these three brilliant guys. Very smart, very capable. Two of them, I guess, geniuses, and they can't figure out a damn car seat. That's the point of the comedy.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, but anyway, I did like how this was Earth 828 or Act 828, Jack Kirby's birthday, and that they acknowledged that at the end of the film. I love the quote they put by Jack at the end of the movie as well. So that was a really nice touch. Hated the Mole Man stuff, mostly because they edited out key things that would have made the character more well-rounded. But they did use the character well and with a purpose. Like I said, they did delete several key scenes showing Sue's diplomatic and political sensibilities that would probably strengthen both her and Mole Man's presence in the film. Basically, he was trying to get her to acquiesce certain benefits for his underground people, so he would take on the evacuation process. And she was like, "You do realize I could just put a force field and cut off all the oxygen and all your supplies from you if I really wanted to." And he's like, "Point taken." Yeah, okay. So it wasn't really that Sue was just so beloved as a diplomat, which was kind of reflected in the rest of the movie in a way. And it wasn't like Mole Man was just letting the pretty blonde walk all over him and was simping for her either. They didn't show enough of her as a badass, as a diplomat in that regard. And I don't think having those scenes in the film would have hurt. You're talking about, well, they need to cut film. I think they needed to add stuff. But that's just me. The 1960s retro futuristic theme was kind of weird, but it worked within the context of the movie. The film's overall design with that was consistent and well executed. It tried to harken back to the Kirby vibe, stuck with the family theme, and that's ultimately what makes this film work. John loved the film. He gave it 4.5. Chris?
Yeah, I had to just give it a straight 3. It was a decent movie. Like I said, the first half ruined it for me. But yeah, it was a movie.
Yeah. I'm going to be generous and go between you guys and give it a 4. There are lots. I mentioned a lot of the flaws during our conversation here. And I could be, ultra ranty about it if I wanted to. But I think I want to save that for next week. And so, what are we talking about next week? Do you guys know?
We are doing Superman, the movie.
No, that's 1978.
Well, the new Superman. James Gunn's Superman movie.
And just you and me, Chris, because John won't be here next week. But
yeah.
Did you think we were really going to tear it up that badly, John?
I wasn't sure about, especially when you started mentioning the Silver Surfer thing, and you reminded me of what you had done. Chris, I didn't know exactly what he would say. I figured Chris would probably like it the least out of the three of us.
Okay.
But even a 3 was a higher score than I thought you might give it, to be honest. But
okay.
Overall, it was still a comic book movie. I love comic book movies, so yeah, that's why I gave it a 3.
Yeah. All right. Well, like we said, next week. All right. Settle down, class. I know the other film you've been wanting us to review, which is I really don't want to. Fine. Next week, it will be Chris and I reviewing Superman by Chris Gunn. And Chris Reeve made you believe a man can fly. James Gunn is going to make you believe in me again. And my dog, Crypto. Sure. With a dorky-ass mutt, Nathan Fillion wearing a wig bowl cut, a pseudo-Justice League that looks more like it's more hokey than The Rock's Black Adam lineup, but I'm supposed to watch and review this darn thing? How is this film going to possibly survive my scathing scowl and ferocious feathered frenzy when I'm already disenchanted and disinterested?
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
That's my response to you, Chris. Oh, I'm going to Scrooge up next week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Everybody's telling me that this is a better film than FF, and I don't know. Based on what I've seen, I don't think so, but we'll wait and see next week. But anyway, that is the show for tonight. And next week on Tuesday, we're scheduled to have Ebony Toussaint as our guest. I have to get that reconfirmed or rescheduled. It is rescheduled. I mean, reconfirmed, I should say. For Tuesday. And then Thursday, John will be here for our regular reviews. And again, Chris will be doing Superman with me. And Monday will be the conclusion of the Kaiju number 8 reviews. So that's what we're doing next week. And let's see what else is going on. Anything else? No, I think that's it. All right, then. With that being said, if you want to reach out to us, social media, Facebook, Lewis.BrightRaven, on the Twitter Muskrat channel at LewisBrightRaven2. You're watching Quoth Raven, Lewis BrightRaven exclusively on YouTube. And if you want to see more of my artwork, go to deviantart.com/BrightRaven. If you want to see more of Chris's art, it's
deviantart.com/fatboy73.
Yeah, I was like, it's something 73. What is it? My brain had a fart for a minute there. Anyway, email quotheraven@lbr72@gmail.com. But I'll get back to you on that. Email trylewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. And then if you want to reach out to Chris, it's ghthrowingstones@gmail.com. And John Figaro at hotmail.com. That's all we got for you tonight. We thank you for watching. We'll see you guys on Monday for Monday Manga. Until then, have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you next time. With the Raven. Nevermore.